Into Q3, Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc, Russell, Hamilton, Piastri, Sainz, Alonso, Magnussen, Perez out in Q2. Gasly, Zhou, Bottas, Tsunoda, Stroll. Esteban Ocon P20. Apparently, they had no issues. So it was just a bad qualifying performance by Ocon. No excuses, just no pace. Which, I don't know, it's a case that Ocon's given up then. In Q1, Albon, Lawson, Hulkenberg, that's surprising. Of course, with Magnussen making it to Q3, that's a disaster for Hulkenberg. Colapinto and Ocon. Like I said, Colapinto's early burst of form has disappeared. He has evaporated. There is someone watching. Hello there. And yes, this is your early leaderboard for Q3. That means Gasly, Zhou, and Bottas will not be coming out again. Leclerc's gone provisional fastest ahead of Carlos Sainz and Kevin Magnussen. Perez has made it to Q3, surprisingly, and Verstappen was actually fastest in Q2. So Red Bull finding some pace there. Of course, Russell, Piastri, and Hamilton setting exploratory lap times there. We'll update you if the lap times drop. I apologise for what happened. Fell asleep. Just fell asleep. And I've woken up just in time. Russell goes fastest. 3 attempts quicker than Leclerc. Hamilton's in third place. The Ferrari and Mercedes sandwiching each other. Piastri's only 5th fastest. Magnussen's doing very well. 6th, ahead of Perez. But Norris, Alonso, and Verstappen still yet to set a time. Just so you know, only 10 runs remain. Verstappen was quickest in Q2. Six people watching. I hope you're doing well. George up to Russell. Watch out for pole position. Good to see you say. Alonso had his time deleted for track limits. Verstappen, 2nd fastest. Only Norris and Alonso have not set time. Alonso having his time deleted for breaching track limits. Of course, McLaren have got their work cut out with Piastri being so bad in qualifying. Alonso, well, you said it, not me. Four tenths slower than Russell. Wow, Hamilton really is not that fast over one lap anymore. And I did say it. Look at that. 21.011 to a 5.75 for his Norfolk-born teammate. I'm trying to think. Stevenage is in Hertfordshire, so they're both from down south, which is both, yeah. Obviously, most of Britain's motor racing base is based down south. Whereas where I live is a lot closer to being up. It's fairly close to Yorkshire instead of down south. I wonder what Norris and Alonso can concoct on their qualifying laps. A mistake has forced Norris to back out. He's got one more chance to correct himself. Ferrari could take the constructors to the final race 100%. My God, where has Verstappen found so much time again from? Only got 1 point in today's sprint race. I beg your pardon. Let's just check. Yep, just 1 point in the sprint. Norris has set an exploratory lap. I don't know what Alonso's going to try and do. He backs out again. Norris backs out again because he approached traffic at turn 7. Very busy track. I don't know what Alonso's going to try and do. And I think Aston Martin will probably be satisfied just to reach Q3 and just make Alonso do a really okay lap and just take P10 and prepare for the race instead. McLaren and Norris will want a lot more than just P9. You know, I don't know what it is. McLaren, Lando, Piastri, great one moment, nowhere to be seen the next. It really is the story of this season. No consistency. I'm guessing we've probably only got about less than 2 minutes to go. And I think it's all eyes on Norris and maybe Alonso if they can get out and do a lap. Has Norris used up his best tyres already? He is now heading until the end of the qualifying session now, and I think we are in the final minute. And of course, with overtaking being a premium track like Qatar, it is very twisty, mind you. Norris needs something. He needs a good lap. or else. George Russell heading for pole position for a second consecutive weekend. Of course, say it. If Russell carries on driving like this, Perez is 8th. I don't know. Does that mean Norris can't get in the top 8? Oh dear. I think it could be that. That could be that, folks. Oh, Norris has gone 3rd. Norris is in 3rd place. No, Perez has dropped to 10th. Alonso gets P8, so Aston Martin have decided to push. Verstappen is on pole position. Well, Perez improves to P9, but still 9/10 slower than his teammate. Norris takes 3rd, Piastri 4th. Crucially, both McLarens are ahead of the 2 Ferrari, so as it stands, I think if that's 15 points for 3rd, 12 for 4th, that's 27 points. 10 points for 5th, 6 points for 7th, so only 16 points there for Ferrari. Obviously, McLaren lead the constructors by 30 points, so provisionally, McLaren will be leading the constructors, ignoring the fastest lap, by 41 points if the result stays as it is. No, Perez goes down to 9th place. Only 9th, my friend. Unless, of course, someone has their lap time deleted above him. But as it stands, if this is the race order tomorrow, then McLaren will need another 4 points from Abu Dhabi to seal the Constructors' Championship at worst. But nonetheless, they still remain favourites to win the Constructors' Championship for the first time since 1998. So, for the sake of Norris and Piastri, they've not... Okay, Piastri's really struggled despite being a second-year rookie. Norris, frankly, has been exposed in the championship fight, but this is a chance for both of these young drivers to save their blushes and at least be acknowledged for helping McLaren win the Constructors' title for the first time since '98, when both of them were not even walking this planet, by the way. Since Norris was born in November 1999 and Piastri was born in April 2001. This is back in the days when Mika Häkkinen had just won his first title. Coulthard was his teammate. Eddie Irvine was teammates with Michael Schumacher at Ferrari. Jacques Villeneuve was reigning champion for Williams, and his teammate was Heinz-Harald Frentzen. And of course, Giancarlo Fisichella and Alex were competing for Benetton at the time. And of course, Benetton have gone on many name changes. Renault, Lotus, Renault, and now Alpine. Max Verstappen is on pole. What a driver he is, though. My God, you can never keep Max Verstappen down, regardless of what condition the car is in, regardless of what you think of him as a person, a driver. Taking pole by just over half a tenth of a second. What? How does he do it? And he's 9/10 quicker than Perez. Oh my God, he really is a generational talent. In fact, he's redefining the term generational talent. Magnussen getting into Q3. Why couldn't Magnussen do this more often this season? I think it's too little too late for Kevin Magnussen. Yet again, Gasly, Zhou getting the better of Bottas. Why couldn't Zhou do this more often? Another mystery of the planet. And I think he finally has got the upgrades, but far too late for the Chinese driver. Tsunoda 14th, Stroll 15th. Well, who cares about Lance? Albon, Norris, and Hulkenberg, surprisingly, out in Q1. Colapinto's early form has gone straight out of the window, fenestrated. Ocon came out, didn't even bother coming up with an excuse because I don't even think he wants to be at Alpine anymore, which is fair enough. He's looking forward to life at Haas next season, so that is your grid for tomorrow's race. I am not aware of any grid penalties for any drivers. Oh! If Verstappen is deemed to have blocked Russell on a fast lap, Verstappen could be facing a penalty. Oh my goodness. Put an asterisk next to Max Verstappen's name, folks. He's under investigation for potentially blocking Russell on a fast lap. Goodness me, we've got drama here in the potentially in the steward's office. Just so you know, McLaren do lead the constructors by 30 points now, ahead of Ferrari after their wonderful 1-2 in the race sprint event, with Ferrari only getting 4th and 5th, ahead of Piastri. No. Sainz and Leclerc finished behind George Russell, and of course, well, Verstappen actually Red had a shocker in the sprint, with Verstappen struggling to 8th place. I mean, if he gets a penalty, then he could drop at least 5 places down to 6th place and really open the door for McLaren to get this constructors title done and over with once and for all, since of course Verstappen would be starting alongside Hamilton, but crucially ahead of Carlos Sainz, and that's going to cause Ferrari a lot of issues because of course he'll start alongside Hamilton, since Hamilton will go up to 5th place on the 3rd row. But crucially, he'll then start just ahead of Sainz, but directly in behind Charles Leclerc, who'll go up to 4th place, whilst Norris will go to the front row of the grid, and of course Piastri will be promoted to 3rd place, flanking George Russell, who would take pole position. But of course, I think we all know this weekend McLaren have got a better pace in race trim, and I think if Norris and Piastri can really, really perform well tomorrow, Ferrari's slim chances of winning the constructors title that they don't really deserve due to the fact their car's not really quick enough will finally disappear, and of course Red Bull will probably be consigned to 3rd place for the title, which is frankly where they really have been all year. And I mean, imagine if Max Verstappen wasn't there, like, I think they'd probably end up in 4th place. George Russell on being blocked by Max Verstappen. Quote, "You tell me, you are the expert. I ended up going through the gravel all over the floor, and it felt like it was scraping. Hopefully, the car wasn't damaged. Maybe that's the reason we didn't improve. Bit of a hairy one." That's going to be interesting, folks. I think Verstappen could be losing pole position, and that would be a massive bonus for McLaren in their fight to seal the Constructors' title for the first time in 26 seasons. In it, a quarter of a century since Team McLaren were Constructors' champions. The last time McLaren were Constructors' champions, let me just tell you, Michael Schumacher still only had 2 world championships to his name. Hakkinen had just won his first title. Thank you for the like, whoever you are. Who else is there? Kimi Räikkönen was still karting. Alonso had just, he was still karting as well. Jenson Button had just won the British Formula Ford championship using those little racing cars with no wings on it. I don't know. I mean, what else is there? I think obviously Hamilton, Vettel was still karting. Nowhere near old enough for junior Formula yet. Barrichello still had no race wins to his name. He was stuck at Stuart Ford at the time. Ralf Schumacher had just come off the back of achieving a career best of 2nd place at the Belgian Grand Prix behind 22 times race winner Damon Hill, and of course Michael's anger over seeing his brother denied a maiden win at Spa-Francorchamps saw Michael push for Ralph to get a seat at Williams as a result. Juan Pablo Montoya had just won the International Formula 3000 title. And of course, he would then head over to America to compete in the IndyCar Series for 1999. Alex Zanardi had just completed his 2nd championship win in the States in the IndyCar kart series. Amazingly, Zanardi would never get to race at the Indy 500 due to, of course, his brief return to Formula 1, and then, of course, that horrific accident he would suffer in 2001 where he lost both of his legs. What else? Yes, I don't think anyone had ever heard of Britney Spears by this point in 1998. Nor was Christina Aguilera really a thing at this point because they were only like 17 years old. Very, very long time ago, McLaren's last world championship. I think one of the biggest musical acts on the planet. Gotta say it, Steak Sauber, 12th and 13th. I think that's got to be their highest grid positions of the year. In a year where they've not, I think they're the only team that have not made it into Q1 all season. Because I know Alpine, Williams, Haas have made it to Q1. RB have made it to Q1. I think only Sauber failed to do so. Unfortunately, I think they very much deserve to end the year in last place. Even if they do steal a point tomorrow, I mean, frankly, they still have been the worst team throughout the year, but I think this weekend has definitely seen some improvement in their performances, particularly with Zhou, who is heading for a Ferrari reserve seat next year, with, of course, Hulkenberg and Gabriel Bortoleto announced as Sauber's 2025 drivers. Bottas, likewise, will be heading for a reserve role at Mercedes as backup to Russell and Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Was Bottas... No, Zhou will be the one backing up Hamilton and Leclerc, so I think for the first time, Hamilton and Leclerc will be calling Zhou a teammate of some sort, or their own, albeit not as a full-time race driving teammate. By the way, Bottas was teammate to Valtteri Bottas at that infamous 2020 Sakir Grand Prix, where, of course, Sergio Perez clinched his maiden Grand Prix win. Of course, Russell was told to come into the pits in order to change the tyre due to an alleged puncture, but of course, many have rumoured he was told to pull over to disguise the fact that Mercedes had frankly an extremely quick car, and he didn't want to make it obvious that basically any rookie could walk into the car and win a race in it. But truth was, that 2020 Mercedes W11 was lightning fast, regularly outqualifying Verstappen's Red Bull by 0.8 of a second. So I think Mercedes deliberately threw away the race win in 2020 at the second race at Bahrain, so that they could disguise the superiority of their car, but they didn't fool me, and they didn't fool many of us. They did not want the headlines, the news, and the press to pick up on the extraordinary pace of that Mercedes W11. Max Verstappen, I don't care what you think of him. Of course, this is a front limited track, so there's going to be a lot of here. Eight people watching. Hope you're all doing very well. Max Verstappen on pole position for tomorrow's Qatar Grand Prix, but there have been claims that Max Verstappen did block Russell on a fast lap, so we might see a grid penalty for Max. Second place, George Russell from the UK for Mercedes-Benz, just over half a tenth of a second slower than a four-time champion Red Bull driver. third place, Lando Norris. The likely 2024 runners-up. 0.25 seconds slower in his orange Papaya McLaren. Fourth place is Norris's teammate Oscar Piastri at McLaren, who was handed a race win in the sprint earlier today in exchange for Norris winning the Sao Paulo sprint on team orders. Charles Leclerc from Monaco at Ferrari will start fifth. Of course, Ferrari trail McLaren by 30 points in the Constructors' Championship, and if McLaren can find themselves in a position where they are at least 45 points ahead of Ferrari by the end of tomorrow's race, McLaren will win the Constructors' title for the first time since 1998, which is 26 years ago. And of course, both of their drivers, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, were not even alive at that point. Sixth place, seven-time champion Lewis Hamilton, more than 4 tenths slower than his teammate Russell, admitted this weekend that he's no longer as fast as what he used to be, and almost half a second slower than the new 4-time champion Dutchman Max Verstappen. Seventh place, outgoing Ferrari driver from Spain Carlos Sainz on 1 minute 21.04. Just less than 2 tenths slower than his Monegasque teammate Charles Leclerc. But he can say that he was only out-qualified by his 2025 replacement Lewis Hamilton by just 0.03 of a second. Alonso in 8th place. For Aston Martin, double world champion from Spain. A good effort for a struggling Aston Martin team, but still over 7 tenths slower than Max Verstappen. 9th place, qualifying in Q3 for what is probably only the 7th or 8th time this season, is Sergio Checo Perez of Mexico, also driving for Red Bull, but a massive gargantuan 9 tenths of a second slower than his quadruple world champion teammate Verstappen, qualifying for 10th, making one of probably only 2 or 3 Q3 appearances this year, is Kevin Magnussen for Denmark, driving for the American Haas team. Impressive effort to make it to Q3, but ultimately he was always going to end up in 10th place. The drivers who were eliminated in Q2 were the high-flying Frenchman Pierre Gasly for Alpine in what could be Alpine's penultimate Grand Prix entry. Once again, out-qualifying his teammate Ocon comfortably with another impressive effort for the Alpine team, who are currently sitting in 7th place in the Constructors' title, having taken a huge leap from 9th place at the Brazilian race held at the Sao Paulo Grand Prix a month ago, where his teammate finished second and Gasly finished third in the pouring rain. 12th and 13th are the Sauber drivers, sponsored by Steak and Kick. Probably Steak's best qualifying effort of the season, Sauber still the only team on the grid, from what I believe, to have had made no appearances in Q3. Zhou, for once, getting the better of his Finnish teammate. Of course, Zhou is the first driver to race in Formula One, having been born in China. Although we have to remember Alex Zhou and Rio Haryanto from Malaysia and Indonesia do have Chinese ancestry, but both raced in F1 in 2002 and 2016 respectively. Zhou has scored points regularly for his, however, but both he and his teammate appear to be heading for reserve driver positions at Ferrari and Mercedes respectively. Of course, Valtteri Bottas has won 10 races and 20 pole positions at his former Mercedes team, who appeared to be re-signing him as their reserve role driver for next season. 14th place. Japanese driver Yuki Tsunoda. I think it's safe to say the Racing Bulls team, the Junior RB team, or Visa Cash App have very much given up on this season. They're probably going to be resigned to taking 8th place in the Constructors. And Tsunoda is rumoured to be leaving the team at the end of the year, with Red Bull apparently interested in signing Colapinto up as Lawson's teammate. But we will be getting on to Colapinto in a second. 15th place, Canadian paid driver Lance Stroll for Aston Martin. Scraped into Q2, but frankly, has never looked likely to make Q3, and he has had another season of embarrassing himself, so I will be moving swiftly on because I don't like talking about Lance Stroll. 16th place, Alex Albon. Williams struggling at a twisty track, which is, as we all know, is not a favourite of Williams. Alex Albon, born in Britain, representing Thailand, doing probably more or less the maximum he can. Obviously, he had a few races when Logan Sargeant was sacked where he started struggling, completely caught out by the amazing pace of his new teammate from Argentina, Franco Colapinto. Thankfully for Alex Albon, he has regained the initiative. 17th, Liam Lawson from New Zealand for the Junior RB team. He has somewhat struggled a little bit recently. Obviously, he replaced Australian 8-time Grand Prix winner Daniel Ricciardo in the second RBC. RB appear resigned to finishing 8th in the Constructors. 18th place is high-flying Nico Hulkenberg from Germany, also driving for the American Haas team, but he scored 2 points in the sprint race with a great effort in 7th place. But qualifying has seen a rare blip and a rare slip-up from the consistently fast and reliable 37-year-old who, just like his team Haas, have never scored a podium in their existence in Formula One, amazingly enough. 19th place is Argentine rookie Franco Colapinto, who has had a few difficult race weekends since his amazing start at the likes of Singapore and Azerbaijan, and I think maybe the hype has got to his head. Maybe Alex Albon has figured how to, maybe Colapinto hasn't truly worked out how to be truly fast on a consistent basis yet. Maybe the pressure could be getting to him. Then, of course, in 20th place, we have 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix winner, hailing from France, driving for the French Alpine team in what could be their penultimate Grand Prix, since, of course, they have announced that they will no longer be using Renault engines at some point in the future, either next season or 2026. Esteban Ocon, slowest on the grid, and remarkably, he did not come up with an excuse of why he ended up 20th and slowest, saying that that's all he had, and I can only presume, as he is leaving Alpine at the end of this season, that he is very much focused on his duties at Haas team for next season, where his teammate will be Ollie Behrman. Alpine will replace Ocon with Australian rookie Jack Dowen. Of course, Mercedes will bring in their own new rookie, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, to replace Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton will replace Carlos Sainz at Scuderia Ferrari. Carlos Sainz, likewise, will replace Franco Colapinto at Williams for next season. We might see a battle between Colapinto and Yuki Tsunoda for a seat at RB as we speak. There have been rumours of Yuki Tsunoda being linked to Aston Martin. Alonso has a contract until 2026 at the Aston team. Which will mean Alonso will race in F1 until the grand old age of 45 years old. Perez, remarkably, will keep hold of his second Red Bull seat for next season, but a lot of people believe this is mostly due to the Mexican money he brings over from Telmex and Carlos Slim, which is keep helping him remain in the sport. Thank you for watching. And it appears to be Max Verstappen is in the pole position to potentially add to his 8 Grand Prix wins for 2024 in what has been yet another spectacular season of performances from the 27-year-old Dutchman. Universally acclaimed to be the best driver on the grid and now a heavy contender to be ranked amongst the top 10 greatest drivers in F1 history. And it has to be said, George Russell has destroyed Lewis Hamilton in qualifying this season. On average, Russell has been faster than Hamilton by almost 0.2 of a second throughout this season. As for Perez, Perez has well, Perez has once again been obliterated in not only race performances, but he can barely get anywhere near close for Verstappen over a qualifying lap. Same can be said for Stroll against Alonso at Aston Martin. I think the closest teammate battle this season has to be Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, although of course I think it's safe to say Charles Leclerc is marginally quicker than Carlos Sainz, but not by much. Whilst Norris has dominated Piastri in qualifying, but Piastri does have his moments, and I think today was one of Piastri's better qualifying efforts. Truth be told, Gasly and Ocon, another close teammate, but Gasly has more or less scored more points consistently in race performances. Although I do think Ocon has had the edge in terms of their very, very best qualifying performances, but he doesn't seem to maintain any consistency when it comes to Sunday. The race will start 4 o'clock UK time, 5 o'clock European time, 11 o'clock East Coast time in America, 1 o'clock for the East Coast of South America, like Brazil and Argentina. And of course, if you're in India, then the race starts at 10 o'clock. And I think for most of the Middle East, it's going to start at about 8 o'clock in the evening in places like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, depending on where you live. Midnight in China and Hong Kong and Taiwan. 11 o'clock for those living in Indonesia. And by a mile, it's going to be 1 o'clock in the morning for those who live in Japan, Korea, and of course down in Perth in Australia. And of course it'll be 3 o'clock in the morning for those living in Sydney and Eastern Australia. It'll be 5 o'clock for those living in New Zealand. So back to normal scheduling for our friends in South and East Asia, and of course the Australians and the Kiwis. If you would like to comment, please comment. I don't know if I've had any comments in the past 10 or 20 minutes. I've not seen anyone say anything. That is your top 10. This is Crystal Racing I hope you enjoy my channel. This is the Qatari Grand Prix results for those of you wondering. If you want my predictions, as long as Max Verstappen avoids a penalty, then I think he could win the race tomorrow. But I think Norris and Piastri will take third and fourth, making it 33 points for the McLaren team. Russell will take fifth. Hamilton will take sixth. Ferrari will take sixth and seventh, with Leclerc Sainz making it 14 points for Ferrari. And those 19 points McLaren will gain on Ferrari with their 30-point lead in the constructors' standings will mean that McLaren will end the weekend 49 points ahead, with only 44 points remaining in Abu Dhabi, which would mean that McLaren would be crowned World F1 World Constructors Champions for the first time since 1998, when the likes of Norris and Piastri were not actually even born yet, and Mika Hakkinen had just become a champion for the first time, and Michael Schumacher only had 2 championships to his name, and had still not won a world championship at Ferrari at this point. This is Crystal Racing, delivering the qualifying results to you here at YouTube. Very impressive by Magnussen. This is arguably the best qualifying performance for Sauber this season in a year. They have still not scored a point and remain planted at the bottom of the constructors' table. Potentially the first time since 2014 they have not scored a single point in the year, when of course Hamilton had just won his first championship at Mercedes, and Sauber had Adrian Sutil and Esteban Ocon race for them. Oh, this is Crystal Racing. Hello. you for watching it at Crystal Racing.